We cold open on Ricky here doing his little shimmy dance in front of all-white church backdrop. We see his face, amused and earnest, and his clothes, the 80s, in a series of quick shots. These shots, not unlike a more personal set of establishing shots, show us the narrator of this story. Ricky dances, taps his feet, centered on a mysteriously unplugged microphone, and we get a feel for his personality. In this way, we're given context for who we are listening to, given a sense of emotional grounding from which this story will be told. It's not going to be a deep story, but it will be a story important and heartfelt, at least to Ricky. Straight cut to Ricky in conspicuously waterlit alley backdrop, or the Quab, dancing in a similar fashion while wearing perverted PI outfit. What this shows us is Ricky's darker side. What he's about to tell us is not just giddy and earnest, but also heart-wrenching and emotional. His story is one where the enemy was not a man or an idea, but the darkness inside him. Ricky's heart is at war with itself, and he's about to tell us why. This story will have levity in spades, but dig a little deeper, and we'll see that it's lined with the angst in his heart. Of course, we then cut to blonde girl whose face we're allowed to see. Let's call her Amber, doing this fancy hair flip. You might be convinced that Amber is the other side of this love story, but we're about to experience the first of many plot twists. This next shot of this girl doing a little booty waggle and disco dance is not the same girl. And believe me, I studied this shot closely for research. Anyway, this is blonde girl whose face we're not allowed to see. We'll call her Brittany. This shot, of course, shows the audience that the story we're about to hear isn't dated. It's a timeless tale, one that would be as relevant in 3 days as it would in 3 decades. Her all-black attire again highlights the emotional through line of the story. This black stands in stark contrast to all-white church backdrop, giving us a brilliantly stark expose on the story in a single shot. Ricky is back, wearing a Canadian tuxedo and dancing at chain-link fence. This is the final bit of story establishment. We see that the story Ricky is about to tell us is one of binds and chains. Ricky feels trapped by his own emotions, stuck in the status quo, ready to break the binds that hold him. He just needs to tell his story, find the courage, and break free, right? We actually see Amber one more time before the monologue begins, dancing in front of the white brick background, and this shot doesn't mean anything yet, so let's just ignore it. Ricky begins his monologue in the Quab, which is a masterfully chosen location to begin in. It shows that the beginning of the story is Ricky at his lowest point. From here, he's only going to be in a better place. He is in conflict with himself, after all. Even if he doesn't achieve all of his goals, he is better for trying. Starting at the Quab, we really feel this beginning. Why he feels the need to start his story in the Flashers trench coat that pops up on all of your targeted shopping ads after you googled "Is Arya Stark 18" when that one Game of Thrones episode aired is beyond me. Anyway, the first verse is him dancing and groaning about his struggles with love conceptually. We see him do this both in the Quab and chain link fence. Again, this is an intentional move to show us that Ricky is at his lowest point. He must start the struggle by showing us his darkness, his handcuffs. It's a little kinky. And I mean, look at that sexy shadow dance. Tell me you wouldn't want to be chained up next to Ricky here. Right, the verse itself. Well, Ricky starts us off in the midst of his journey to find love. He's singing to someone, the person on the other side of this story. Who is it? Amber? Brittany? We'll soon find out. For now, Ricky sings of the depths and throes of the challenges of love. Both Ricky and the person of his desire are familiar with these challenges.
We're no strangers to love. You know the rules, and so do I.
Ricky finds it constructive to remind himself, his subject, and the listener that love is a part of life, one that he knows intimately. But then he moves on. We move on from the Quab back to the chain link fence as Ricky makes his first move. He wants the subject to know that his sentiment, his proposal, is considered and restrained, while also being unique among their many other suitors.
A full commitment's what I'm thinking of. You wouldn't get this from any other guy.
He has something special to offer, something even greater than the light denim overcoat he's wearing out the back of this applesauce factory that doesn't have any windows but is still fenced off for some reason. Truly groundbreaking stuff. A quick cut to this shadow clap before we return to the Quab for the beginning of his confession.
I just wanna tell you how I'm feeling. Got to make you understand.
We see Amber one more time, which leads us to believe that he's singing to Amber. It's a compelling narrative, sure, but we want to pay attention to sundress Amber's scenes here because they're important to the biggest twist of this entire video. But for now, it's time. The buildup is complete, the jacket is open, his squat is 7 out of 10 form, not bad, bend the knees to get better balance, before we get to what we've all been waiting to hear. What is special about Ricky's proposal? What can he bring to the table that no one else can?
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you.
We come to the church luncheon cleanup backdrop for the first time, as Ricky tells us about how faithful and honest he will be. This is exemplified by the fact that he's dancing with both Amber and Brittany. We're again shown Amber's face clearly and not Brittany's for symbolism reasons, but the moving cameras and panning shots shows Ricky's still solemn promise to be steadfast in his faithfulness.
Never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye, never gonna tell a lie and hurt you.
Starting here, we're introduced to our fourth character, whose position here as a skeptical service worker currently cleaning I won't jump to conclusions about. This is Xavier, and he's jamming and cleaning here behind the bar, presumably elsewhere in the church luncheon cleanup room. He's here to show us how inspirational and moving Ricky's words really are, in case we've thus far been unaffected or have simply forgotten. We are feeling what Xavier is feeling in this moment.
We've known each other for so long. Your heart's been aching, but you're too shy to say it.
This is some crucial exposition that we get here, because Ricky is singing to someone he's known for a long time. Their connection is long established, deep, and tense. The quab here symbolizes this tension sitting just beneath the surface, the water reflecting Ricky's heart back onto him.
Inside we both know what's been going on. We know the game and we don't wanna play it. And if you ask me how I'm feeling, don't tell me you're too blind to see.
We're deep into Xavier's character arc now. He's now fully on board with Ricky's words of wisdom and love, showing how his previous incredulity has dissolved into enthusiastic agreement. Intercut with this development, we also get our second brief profile shot of Brittany, whose face we're still almost entirely prevented from seeing. Peculiar, but oh well. It all builds up to the second chorus.
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you.
Starting with more of the same, we see Xavier literally break free from his position behind the bar to express his joy and commitment in concert with Ricky. Ricky himself, of course, continues with his earnest depiction of his commitment. This is intercut with shots of a spinning Amber, once again linking Ricky to Amber. Could Amber truly be the subject of this song? We loop back the chorus again. This persistence is not laziness. Rather, it's emblematic of Ricky's dedication to the subject. He'd sing this song all 1.5 billion times if he needed to, in order to prove his worth. But this second chorus also gives us one of the most groundbreaking, awe-inspiring twists in cinema history. We get introduced to a fifth character. We see a few brief shots of Yosef, the final character in our story, dancing against white brick background with sundress Amber. Is Yosef the villain of this story? Is he the man that is holding Amber back, keeping her from revealing her true feelings about Ricky? And sure enough, Yosef has been secretly infiltrating our story from the very beginning. These shadow shots are not Ricky. Look, the hair is completely different. It's a perfect match for Yosef. Yosef could be the villain of this story. We're deep in the action now, glued to our screens. How does this story end? Who's Ricky singing to? And what's the true meaning of this song? There's only one way to find out.
Never gonna give, never gonna give. Never gonna give, never gonna give.
The bridge here is the flashback episode of this story. We're going over the highlights of this story while fleshing out Yosef's character. We watch him dance, clap, shadow clap. He seems to be taking the spotlight away from Ricky, even as the brilliant strokes of Ricky's story are replayed for us. We're reminded of Yosef's sneaky entry into the story, his position here being expertly foreshadowed. But of course, his relationships with Amber and Ricky, as well as his intentions, are as of yet unclear. We need to see this through to the end.
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you.
As we enter the final chorus and fade out of the song, we see the truth. Yosef is not the villain of this story. He and Amber are inspired by Ricky's tale together. We can see Amber looking with delight and fondness at Yosef's dancing? They're in love. Meanwhile, Xavier has returned from his many flips to the bar to pursue his love. From this pan here, we can see Xavier linked to Brittany, as when she disappears from the screen, he immediately appears. Just before we're able to get a good look at Brittany's face, we see Xavier. And think about it, we've hardly seen Brittany's face. We've never seen the two of them in the same room, except a little bit here, but that doesn't count. It's not Brittany in the back. I've decided it's a stunt double, filling in, hiding among us as Brittany, because Brittany is in the shot elsewhere. Here. Brittany and Xavier are the same person. It's ingenious. Ricky's love song is so profound that it causes two people to come together as one, to literally become two parts of one person. I really had to dig deep for this one, but it's true. And so, this leaves Ricky on his own. He sure seems happy about it, but who is left for him to sing to, and what is he singing about? Who is left for him to rant about a pop song from the 80s to? What is he ranting about? Well, dear viewer, I'm singing to you. Ricky loves you and won't ever give you up. This love song is written for you. That means you haven't just been Rickrolled. You've been Volkrolled.
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you, never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye, never gonna tell a lie and hurt you.